Yo, sup? Hi guys. Um, hmm. Check, 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 check. I'm trying to figure out why Mac OS isn't popping up on here. Why aren't you popping up, Mac OS? What's the deal, Buckaroo? Keeping it a buck or two. Yo, good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. Hold up. Hello. Let's go to my dashboard. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. All right. I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Mm. All right, so what are we doing today? I'm not feeling. Actually, I am feeling it. Hold up. Check this out. Check this out. What's up, Twitch? Good to see ya. Hello, hello. All right, check it out. Check it out. Check it out. You. There we go. Dude, this is so cool. I never have videos like this, so getting 2,000 videos in, getting 2,000 views in the past day. I mean, guys, that's pretty insane. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. I think it has not loaded just yet, but when it does, it'll just like dwarf all of this. You guys are awesome. I'm going to have to make more stuff like that, because that was a really cool response. Very impressive click-through rate. Very good average view duration. Hold up. Go to view analytics. Like, you guys have just been absolutely blowing this up recently, so I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for that, especially in the browse features. So you guys have been awesome for that. 5 subscribers, so dude, this might be the move for sure. We got to start talking about stuff for real. We got some serious engagement though. Dudes, check out the okay, yeah, what are the videos suggesting? We got internet versus loner box. Creepiest decade, old YouTube mystery finally solved. Interesting. Wait. Check. Check, 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 check. All right. Oh, you know what it is? It's probably because this needs to be restarted. Bam. So if I restart that capture, that's probably why. Yeah. Okay, now I can turn that off. All right. Cool. Yeah, no. So what are the videos that are suggesting this? We got Internet versus Lonerbox, The Creepiest Decade, Rapper's Most Embarrassing Moments, Dad Reacts to Pink Pantheress. So Logan Paul is trying to go back to Japan. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, that's 14%, but that's literally just like 1 or 2 impressions. Impressions click-through rate, very impressive though. 100% of the time. All right. Okay. Very cool to see traffic source. That's pretty neat. Wow, 3 subscribers. Okay. Welcome subscribers. Yeah. What else? Ha. Sweet. Oh, what's up? Good to see you, Twitch. Welcome in, Twitch. We're just chilling tonight. In fact, I should probably put this on just chatting. Probably put this on just chatting. Update that. I don't think I could do that for Kick. Let's log into that. What have I done? I ask myself that every time I Okay. This is supposed to be beyond done. Review and publishing says it takes 10 days. We're 1 of 4 steps in, so I'm shocked that this isn't produced yet. But yeah, 23 ratings, so I'm really excited for this to actually be released. Maybe we'll put it out there. It's going to be released. I'd prefer not tomorrow because that's the 13th. But maybe the 14th. Maybe May 14th is a good day. So we'll put it out there. It'll be May 14th. Let's check out sales, though. I always like to look at sales on camera. All right, cool. Somebody bought something. Oh, it was the biohacking guide. Thank you guys for buying that. That one came out on Pi Day. So thank you. Thank you for buying the biohacking guide. We got 5 people buying Red Light Revolution. So we got 4 sales, 1 sale, 2 sales, 2 sales, and the 1. So we love to see it. But more importantly is listening. All right, we got 2 listeners yesterday and 1 today so far. Mostly blackjack and baccarat, but we got 1 for Red Light Therapy Revolution. Thank you for that. I appreciate you listening. Thank you guys for listening to me. But we're working on a couple different projects. Our main project that we're working on right now, because we have a lot on the back burner, but our main thing that we got in focus is the Secret Codes of the Mind, Introduction to Philosophy, Book 5. This is going to be 13 hours long, and we're already half an hour in. So we got some time. Last time we were on here, though, we kind of oscillate between legal foundations of a free society and medical law and technological advances. And I think that we could advance this a little bit tonight, if we figure out where we were and what we can do on this. So for anybody just joining on YouTube, what's up? Good to have you. Very good to see the spike in viewership recently. So that was super cool. Very glad to see that video did well enough. And I did some A/B testing on it. I'll show you guys, because I kind of recorded this as its own video and we'll upload it at some point. But so that video uploaded to here, and it has fairly positive, like it's 22 likes, and 22 likes as compared to, I think it was like 10 dislikes or something. Let me go into that so I can show you guys. I think your channel has it. Man, YouTube is kind of hard to navigate sometimes. But anyway, I think it's got like a 63% ratio here. So not too bad. But I actually made it for this other channel. And I did some A/B testing because I made it for this channel, but this channel, I uploaded it and I couldn't do a thumbnail on here. So I said, all right, I'm going to upload it on my main. I'm going to put my own thumbnail. We'll see what happens. And I got an overwhelmingly positive result with my main channel. But on the side channel, it's your boy. It's kind of a B test. Look at that. That is overwhelmingly negative. This is actually good advice. But it's overwhelmingly negative here. And the like to dislike ratio, there's actually like 40 dislikes. So it was very much in the favor of the dislike button here, which I'm totally fine with. Like, this is something I just cobbled together in like a few hours while I was playing with my editing software. Oh, this is way too loud. Let me turn that down. But all I'm saying is they're the exact same video. I didn't change anything. The only thing I really changed is the name is slightly different because this was the original name. And then I changed it to Tom Dark Went Dark because I felt like that was a better name for it. But you can see that it like translated to, from the thumbnail and the name itself, it translated to a much more negative reaction. So very interesting to see that. Very comparable views. And almost the same amount of subscriber increase in both instances. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. I also dubbed it in Spanish using my voice. And then I dubbed it in so it's Spanish, in French, in German, in Portuguese, and also in Swedish. So they all sound very different, but kind of A/B testing in different languages here. I'm a scientist, so I like to go through and see how, if I change a variable, like a language variable, what changes. I can see that Germans do not like this at all. I don't know how much you can glean from this, though, because I did kind of change the thumbnails, and I don't know if that correlates at all, but I want to say the most popular languages, it seems, are, weird enough, Swedish, but then also Spanish. That makes sense. Spanish makes sense. It's close enough. It's kind of close to home. Go on TikTok. Yo, Melly. Good to see you, Melly. Hello. Go on TikTok. I am so tired. I would love to go on TikTok, but I am a tired person. You should check out my recent video on this channel. Good to see you, Bibble. I love you, Bibble. I love you, Bibble. Thank you so much for the like. I really appreciate that. Yeah, the recent video on here, we got bam, 1.4 thousand. That's crazy. Did not expect that. So that's become like my third most popular video. Damn. Hey, thank you so much for the subscription. I appreciate the subscribers. You are the GOAT. What happened to Reader Rick? Oh, he's there. He's there. Reader Rick is still there. I'm just like so low energy that I feel like I wouldn't be able to properly talk to people on TikTok right now. But probably tomorrow. I'm drinking a nightcap here. Yeah. I was toying around with this program called Descript. And you could just like edit a video. It's pretty cool. So I imported this video that I just quickly recorded on here, honestly. I just used this platform, and it turns my video into a transcript. And then I could play that. What's up, guys? How you doing? So you can kind of see on here like the timeline. So I was figuring out how to like add an object in. So this is an element where it's just Neptune's crown. Let's see, what are certain things about this? I think if I click on it, it has certain properties, like, so it's an animation and it has two different keyframes. So I can edit the keyframe, and so there's two different keyframes. The keyframe is like, one is up here, and then the other keyframe is like down here. So that's where it starts, and then this is where it ends. And then I think another thing it has is in the animation, there's an easing to it, which is natural. So there's a natural easing where it like it speeds up slowly and then slows down slowly. Kind of comes to a halt. So there's a couple different animation energies that you can have here. You can overshoot, impulse, swing. So I got a lot to play with here. I got a ton of things to play with. So easing worked for this one. Easing worked for this. Yeah. Royal reactions. Let's see what else. Ooh, okay. So this one was an element that I put a transition on. So let's see. I had that as a layer. And it's got the slide animation. Tom Dark. And then it also has a sound effect, which is the flash whoosh that comes in right beforehand. Tom Dark. And I felt like that kind of it gave the energy of like showcasing something. So I liked that. You know, of course we got the crowd laugh. I did something to this actually, because my eyes aren't actually doing that. I think my eyes are looking at the screen here, but I used the Underlord here to fix the eye contact. So right here, I made it so that it corrected my eye contact just on that one frame, which is why it looks so strange. He used to be one. And then why flip right back to it. He used to be afterwards. So I wanted to give it that kind of strange nature to it. Negocius. I wanted to give this guy some airtime. An analytical biochemist. Stay focused. And I'm out here mixing bees nas. I'm out here pipetting things, listening to Negocius. We got some sleigh bells. Another thing that you can do is you can zoom in to certain parts of this. So you can bring my face down so you can kind of see more of this. But basically what's going on is like I'm separating everything into scenes. And then you can take this and like zoom it into a certain part and it'll create the animation in between. So that was like all just like the animation it thinks it wants you to have in between these two scenes where it zooms into that. And so I think it's because it's on the smart transition in and out. I believe that's what it is, that like it just knows I want to zoom in there. So makes it very easy to create. Makes it very, very easy to create. Yeah. All right. Where were we? Check, check, 1, 2. Hey. It's compared to greater risks or fewer benefits compared to. Oh yeah, I was at a different section. I remember that. All right. Let's go back. Let's go to Oops. Sorry, I think I was cut off there. But I love you. I was saying that I love you, and it's okay to be wrong. You know, it's okay to be wrong. You are amazing regardless. Check, 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 check. I said I love you. Hey, I love you too. Mayo, I love you more. I love you more. That's what I said. Okay, all right. Okay. All right. I got the Apple Pen. Oh, well, you enjoy your life, man. I'll be back on TikTok at some point, I promise. Daddy's home. What is that? Do you guys hear that? That's horrible. Oh, okay. All right, if you guys wanted to know, it's because my audio interface was next to all of the cables. So it has to be away from those. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Here we go. Yo, thank you so much for the like. I appreciate that. I appreciate the like. Where am I at? All right, I'm going to share my screen with me. And then join. Dude. Before I could even hit mute, that's what happened. What? Oh, okay. Yeah, no. 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 There we go. All right. And then we'll go into script. And then we'll go down to screen share. There we go. There we go. And then I'm just going to change this because, like, I don't really want to hold it like that. But this is my script. Ooh, let's do properties on this because I think that I can put some fun stuff. I want to put a border on it. Can I not put a border? I want to put a border. Let's put a border. Properties. Filters. Effect filter. Chroma key. Color correction. Blur. Okay. All right. This is a little bit much, but whatever. Let's bring this back over here and start. There we go. Cultural, and linguini. Cultural and linguistic issues. Cultural issues and language barriers are significant challenges. Cultural issues and language barriers are significant challenges in conducting clinical research. Clinical research, especially in international contexts or in studies involving diverse populations. These differences can complicate communication between researchers and participants, and make it difficult between researchers and participants, and make it difficult to obtain true and understandable informed consent. Informed consent. To address these issues ethically and effectively, researchers must demonstrate heightened cultural sensitivity and adopt strategies where was I? Adopt strategies that ensure all participants fully understand the information related to the study. Sensitivity to local cultural practices is critical to the success in ethical integrity of research. Different cultures have values, beliefs, and practices that can influence how individuals perceive illness, medicine, and participation in scientific studies. For example, in some cultures, the decision to participate in a study may not be made individually, but rather together with the family or community. Let's see, right there. But rather together with the family or community. Ignoring these cultural dynamics can lead to misunderstandings, lack of trust, or even rejection of the research, by the community. Therefore, it is essential that researchers engage with local communities. Consult community and cultural leaders, and adopt research procedures in ways that respect and integrate these practices. Language barriers also present language language barriers also present a significant challenge in obtaining informed consent and communicating throughout the study. When participants do not speak the language of the researchers, there is an increased risk there is an increased risk that crucial information about the study will not be completely understood. To mitigate this risk, it is critical that consent materials and other communications are accurately translated into participants' native language. Furthermore, I think there was some sound there, so let me just into participants' native language. Furthermore, the use of experienced translators or interpreters who not only speak the language but also understand the cultural context. It is actually I need a different emphasis. Hold on. Furthermore, the use of experienced translators or interpreters who not only speak the language but also understand the cultural context is necessary to facilitate effective communication and ensure that participants gotta go up on the flexion there. And ensure that participants can gotta go down a bit. Can ask questions, express concerns, and make informed decisions. There we go. In addition to literal translation, it is important that the language used in consent materials is clear, accessible, accessible, and adapted to the participant's level of understanding. The use of medical jargon or technical terms can be confusing, especially in communities where the level of formal education is limited. Instead, researchers should opt for simple, direct explanations, using examples and analogies that make sense in the cultural context of the participants. This helps ensure, thank you so much for the like, I appreciate that on YouTube. My man. This helps ensure that information about the risks, benefits, and study procedures is truly understood. Another important aspect Aspect. Aspect. Another important aspect is adapting informed consent approaches. Informed consent approaches. Maybe like up, up, down. Another important aspect is adapting informed consent approaches to reflect, yeah, probably like that, to reflect specific cultural practices. In some cultures, acceptance to participate in a study may depend on approval. Let's see. May depend on approval from community authorities or family. Yeah, I probably like that. In these cases, informed consent may require a multi-step process involving discussions with community leaders. Let's see, I probably want to go up on that. Involving discussions with community leaders before approaching participants individually. Respecting these practices can increase acceptance of the study and strengthen, there's a vocal crack in there, and strengthen the relationship of trust between researchers and the community. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You're welcome, man. Very unique stream. Never seen this before. Is this for an audiobook? This is indeed for an audiobook. This is, let me pause this for a second. But yes, I super appreciate that. This is for a book on Audible called Medical Law and the Technological Advances. So I'm making this. Here, I'll show you. I'll shift my screen over to ACX because anybody can get involved with this. This is a super cool site, but it's the Audiobook Creation Exchange, which Audible uses to connect narrators with authors who want to turn their book into an audiobook. And so they'll source a lot of us narrators through their Find Talent tab. But they'll also list their project for you to find as a narrator where you can find projects. So this is super cool. This is the project I'm working on, Medical Law and Technological Advances. It's about a 5-hour project, which usually takes about 40 hours to produce. So I'm just always on here working away on it. But we got plenty of stuff in the background. We got 8 in production right now. So we kind of have our work cut out for us here. I appreciate that. Thank you for popping in. Yes, definitely unique stream on here for sure. I've seen this type of stream before on TikTok, but not quite. They may do it here on YouTube, but I don't really see it often on YouTube. So that's what I'm doing on here, and I'm just goofing. I'm just on here goofing. So thanks for popping in. Thanks for showing love. I definitely appreciate that. Is it Bayor? Is that how you say that? Is it Bayor? I'd like to know how to say your name correctly. Oh, that's cool. You are the voice. Your voice is really nice for this too. Great work. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Bay is B or Bayor. I'm going to say Bayor for right now, but correct me if I'm wrong. Definitely want to say your name correctly. So thank you so much for that wonderful compliment. I appreciate that. Let's see. I think I'm pretty new to it. I have about, I'll show you my repertoire because I've got 11 things completed right now, but 1 is in review and 3 of them have been unable to process. So really that comes down to 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. So I've produced 7 books so far and my 8th is in review. So I'm still under 10 Still have yet to really find a tremendous amount of success, but hey, we got 10 sales this month. We go back to when I first started in October, and I think we're up to a total of 84 sales. So just hit my biggest month recently here with 4 sales in one day on the 3rd. So really, really happy for that. And I just want to see a lot of people enjoy this, so the hours listened is a really good tab for me where I can see people actually listening to the audiobook, and that's all I really want. I just want people to enjoy it. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. This is the first stream I've ever seen of this. I've never heard of that site before. Absolutely. I love spreading the word as well because, I mean, a lot of people have great voices and they want to get into this line of work and they don't know how. Of course, I'm working with the Shure SM7B, which is a really, really nice microphone. It's the top-notch microphone you could use for podcasts. But there are other microphones that I could use, like the Neumann microphone, for example, which is several thousand. This one's about 500, but there's like several thousands that you could use as well. Those are very, very nice. You did indeed pronounce Bayer right. Awesome. Dude, that is fantastic. I love that. I was like, it kind of looks similar to Bayer is a company in my field. So I work as an analytical biochemist, and Bayer is definitely a thing. And I feel like that just made sense to me. So thank you for that. Congratulations on the sales. Glad a lot of people. Yeah, I am very glad that a lot of people are enjoying it. That's all I can really ask for in this line of work is just, do people enjoy it at the end of the day? And some of this is a little more, it's a little more dry. It's a little more nonfiction like. It's a lot of factual information. So I can understand when people like tune out. But if I could bring this more life than it had originally, and more people get to hear this information that they want to hear, not only does this practice make me better as a narrator, but I can also give this information locked in the format of a book and give it to people who might be on the road, for example, or mowing the lawn, or stocking shelves in the back of a Target. Like, I want to be able to give the access to knowledge to the most amount of people. So it's sort of my pursuit with it all. And hopefully I achieve that and I get better every step of the way. I've been using this program called Descript, which I recently made a YouTube video with, and it did a very good job with. Like being able to add things. This is my first YouTube video I've ever made on here, but it was so cool to be able to create different scenes and have this like automatically zoom into things, or create like a sound effect in here. This was really, really neat. It even pulled in, like, this was a YouTube video. I was like, I wonder if I could just pull in a YouTube video from this. So I said something about staying focused. So I was like, stay focused. I need to have Negocius in here. No chemist somewhere. So, yeah, it did a really good job with this, but it does a very good job with audiobooks. Being able to take, like, say this is chapter 1, you import this as a lossless WAV file. It translates your WAV file into these chunks of words that you can shift. And you can edit an audiobook word for word by the text on here, or you could do it inside of the timeline itself. So you can do automatic things like remove retakes, shorten the word gaps, all very good things that accelerate my ability to make these. So happy that I found that on a Reddit thread from 2 years ago. That's all it takes, is just incorporating those tiny little jumps that those tiny little alterations that make a massive jump in productivity. This, I think, has 10x'd my output. It's something serious like that where I in no way could have made as much as I am now without this program, which takes out much of the busy work. So super happy for that. Where were we on this though? Then the relationship of trust between researchers and the community. All right, we were on researchers and community. That's where we were. Bro, why does Reddit have everything? Yes. Yeah, no, they literally do. I trust them for like anything. I think I was on a Reddit thread today about diesel hybrids, you know? Cuz I drive a diesel car, and I got that cuz I wanted to make biodiesel back in the day. I wanted to make my own fuel so I could put that in and at some point run my car off of used vegetable oil. You can only really do that with a diesel car, so I got one to do that with. But long story short, it's a BMW, so I don't really want to mess with it right now. But maybe its time will come at some point. But there's diesel hybrids that are out there. They get like 200 miles per gallon. I thought that is so neat, and so I was reading a Reddit thread today about that, and Reddit honestly has everything, you know. Oh yeah, hearing a book like this in this format with a nice voice rather than an intimidating article is a very nice thing to do. You got a gift for it. Thank you so much for that, Bayor. I appreciate that. I know you'll help a lot of people stay focused. Stay focused. Hey, that's what we're here for. We're here to stay focused. That dude is so funny though. That dude is so funny. I see him on Instagram all the time, so I got to show him some love. Show him some love. Get him on here as well. Let's see. But yeah, I appreciate that. Hopefully I can take this from the written format and bring it to the audio format. There's so much you could do with it. So many places you can go. I always think about mowing the lawn because I've had so many instances where like I'm mowing my grandma's lawn. It's like 2 hours throwing the headphones, and you're listening to a book on like grit and determination by Angela Duckworth, and she says some things in there that like changes your perspective for the rest of your adult life. You know, there are things locked away. There are ideas, because that's really what books are. They're thoughts themselves are like this cluster of droplets of water, and to have a book is to speak is to take like a cold wand and like collect the water around, and inside of a cloud, like these thoughts like droplets inside of a cloud, you coalesce them into a liquid form, and you collapse it into something that you could play with, and then you solidify them by purifying them into the written word. And so a book really is like a distilled version of thought. It's so much thought that gets put in and cooled down and tailor-made to convey an idea of its purest form. And if you could take that and in its very same way, in its most pure form, bring it to life to the most amount of people, you get people thinking. And I think that has a massively good impact on the world. And that's the impact that I want to have. So that's kind of why I want to get into this. That'd be super cool. I hope that works out. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Never had a diesel car before. Would be an interesting thing to run car on vegetable oil. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. See, because what you can do is you can take waste vegetable oil. They usually abbreviate it with WVO. So waste vegetable oil, you usually go to a place like a Chinese restaurant, and they'll put it out back for anyone to grab. They're actually trying to get rid of it, but you put it out there, and you collect their waste vegetable oil, you could do one of two things. You could, one, put it directly into a diesel engine, and it will run off of used vegetable oil. The only problem with that is that there are some oils that will clog up the pipes inside of a diesel engine. So you have to run it hot enough to burn to melt the oil in order for it to burn. So you can use waste vegetable oil just the way it is, but you need to do it when it's hot. And so you have to do some alterations to it in order to ensure that it's hot oil, that's compressing 1/16 of its size, which propels it. But also what you could do is you can mix it with an alcohol and a base, a strong base, I should say. So that alcohol would be like methanol is usually what's used, because ethanol is pretty expensive. People drink that, right? So you use methanol, which is the most basic alcohol you could have, and then you mix it with sodium hydroxide. And then so that makes sodium methoxide, which will conduct a trans-esterification reaction. So it'll take the triglyceride ester, which is the glycerin backbone, and 3 little fatty esters, and it will cleave them off, and it'll make methyl esters, which can be compressed 1/16 of their size to create a diesel-like explosion. And that is what's known as biodiesel. So you're taking waste vegetable oil and converting it through the trans-esterification reaction and making that into something that is exactly analogous to diesel. The only issue is that you now you put that into engines that may not be able to interact with esters in that way. Diesel is a long hydrocarbon chain, so it's just carbons and hydrogens, but an ester has a carbonyl group on it, which is a C double bonded to an oxygen, and that has different chemical properties that will interact with like gaskets. And so even when I was reading about that, I was reading that on Reddit thinking, okay, this is a little bit deeper about how I have to think about and how I have to approach putting a methyl ester into my car, you know? So it's kind of like that. That is such a beautiful way to put it. You're giving a voice to a lot of people's thoughts and spreading them to a wider audience. Thank you. Absolutely. That is exactly what I want to do. That is exactly the impact I'd like to have on the world. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Bayer. I appreciate that, Bayer. All right, let's see if I can knock out just a little bit more of this. I have chat up, though. I definitely have some chat up. The cultural background of researchers is also a critical component in overcoming these barriers. Yeah, there we go. Researchers working in multicultural contexts must be trained to recognize, trying to find the emotion there, to recognize and respect cultural differences. That's a little newscastery. Researchers working in multicultural contexts must be trained to recognize and respect cultural differences. Understand implications. Here we go. Understand the implications of these differences for conducting research and develop intercultural. These are tongue twisters here. And develop. Take it back just a bit. And develop intercultural skills that facilitate communication and collaboration with participants. Yeah, I think that's probably good. I think that's probably good. Yeah, it's all performance though. It's all performance. And sometimes it's hard to like keep that performance up. Saying all that without the oils, saying all that about the oils without stuttering or messing up for real confirms you're a great storyteller. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Bayer. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean that's really I've said that so many times though. I think that's why I can say it with that confidence and that flow because I've said it over and over and over again and I've confronted those ideas so many times that it's sort of like deeply ingrained in my mind. And I think that that's something that I either listened to or read at some point, but the more you can confront those ideas that are true no matter where you go, if you can confront them over and over and over again and be able to articulate them in a better and better way every time you approach them, you are able to teach more people as well and create a better world by having better conversations. I I really love that perspective, but yeah, it's all about the amount of time with which you can return to those the roots of it all. All right, I'm drinking hydration here today. Some Ghost hydration. I'm drinking Ghost hydration, but on top of that, I'm also drinking Ghost sleep so I can wind down as I am reading this today. So this is kind of like my nightly reading here where I'm winding down into a sleep-like state. I think there's something about reading before you go to bed, right? I just don't like all these lights on me. I think all these should probably be like red shifted, but we'll see. Thank you. I deeply appreciate everything you're saying. Seriously. Oh, ooh. Okay, we got. Ooh. That's a wonderful perspective. Thank you so much. I'm very bad at articulating. Articulation. Okay. That and that's all practice. It's really all practice. I am also bad at articulation sometimes, especially when it comes to things that I'm not very familiar with. I can be very bad at articulation because my mind wants to wander to a multitude of different perspectives and find all of the alternative interpretations of something. I'm very bad at articulation and have been wanting to fix that. No idea how. Very nice listening to these perspectives. Absolutely, yeah. Feel free to steal them. Feel free to use them as your own and use them as you will. Because, like, I think that there are so many ways that you could take ideas of like this of this nature and make it your own and put your own specific twist on it. You know, I think it was I, mu- I think I was listening to a Malcolm Gladwell book or his podcast Revisionist History when he was speaking about, I think it was Martin Luther King. It was one of the great orators of history. And they were detailing how he would practice saying speeches with something in his mouth in order to create like the most amount of obstruction, and he would just compulsively try to articulate himself. That is how the greatest speakers of history have done it. Ghost, Are they all energy drinks? Yeah, kind of, a little bit. Some of them are energy drinks. This one in particular is a hydration drink, so it's pretty similar to Liquid IV, if you're familiar with that. I've only tried the Sour Patch Kids flavor. Be careful of those. Yeah, no, absolutely not. I am a big fan of the cherry limeade flavor. Very, very good. And I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. Not at all. But the cherry limeade flavor is so good. I use their Gamer Sup for that. And I'm a big fan. I drink 2 scoops every day. I love it. But this one is actually an alteration on it. It is the Ghost Sleep brand. So it's supposed to have some things to ease you into a nightly slumber. Yeah, but if this was an energy drink, I would not be sleeping tonight. And that would be horrible for tomorrow because I got to work. I gotta not only work, I gotta do a test tomorrow. So it's just when we conduct tests, it's there's a lot of focus on performing the test correctly. So I need my sleep for that, my beauty sleep. Cultural. Oh yeah, please definitely try the cherry limeade. It's so good. It's too good. Culture. I can't reach that depth in there. Cultural, and legal differences in research ethics. Ethical perspectives on biomedical research can vary significantly. That's too slow. Can vary significantly between different cultures and legal jurisdictions. These differences reflect values, beliefs, and social norms that influence the acceptance and conduct of research. It's not bad. Cultural values. Oof, it's a long one. Ooh. Oh. There we go. What you said about purposefully creating obstructions to try and force better articulation is very interesting. I hope I have enough obstruction. I have enough obstructions. Yeah, don't we all? Honestly. Mine is like I'm very tired all the time. I'm very, very tired, and I'm sleepy Eric. And I won't put the energy in to creating the proper mouth sounds. So somebody called it like a lazy tongue, and it'll be like la llama. I don't know what words really like bring it out. Maybe cultural, because you want to say things like cultural. Like you want to say it like cultural. Real like you have to say 2 sounds. But really when you're doing a book, it's cultural. Rural and cultural differences in psychological norms, like being able to pull your mouth back and almost very purposefully and intentionally make every single mouth sound that is necessary with that. It's just so different when you're narrating. But I feel you with the abstractions. I really do. I really, really do. But I can definitely try repeated practicing. Yeah, repeated practicing is exactly the way to do it. And intentional drilling is another one where it's like, I was thinking about, this is my practice about intentional drilling. What I would do is I would take this lossless wave file and I would import it into my transcript. I would turn it into a transcript rather. And then I would feed that transcript that it makes into another AI and I would say, what words in here do I most struggle with? Given the repetition of words or to a series of words that run into each other, like the INGs, like what series of words is most problematic? And then try to intentionally create something that fits that mold and try and target what's most challenging for me and do that over and over and over again. That's probably how I would do that, how I would approach it. What made you interesting in voice acting? I've always been told that I've had a very good voice. I feel like I'm distracting you from work. That's okay. It's kind of a chill night. It's kind of a chill night, so this is definitely the night for it. There are other nights where I'm locked in and I will barely recognize chat or maybe even not broadcast at all because I just have to totally lock in. But no, I think right now it's pretty chill. So you are totally good. Like slurring words, yeah, it's really like slurring words. It's really, really like slurring words. It's unfortunate, but like that's just how speech sounds good in a conversational manner. Like if I were to say words in the most pronounced manner, it translates itself to the book. But like if somebody were talking to you like that, you'd be so upset. You'd be like, dude, come on, please stop talking that way. You are AI. Like you would literally be upset if somebody spoke to you like a narrator. But I will say, when I have done the performance of the narration or voiceover work, people usually are like, like when a lot of people react in a very pronounced manner, it's hard for you to not be like, oh, that's the thing I should do. And that's really what happened with voiceover work. It's like when I'm checking people out at Trader Joe's where I used to work, and I'd be like, well, your total a day is 1462. And they're like, oh my God, you belong in the radio. You really need to do and that's all. Like you have those moments where people kind of freak out and they're like, holy shit, that's insane that you could do that. I think that's like, those are probably the moments that give me so much confidence. That's like, okay, that's probably the thing that I need to be doing, you know? I feel like I run my sentences together. Yeah. I am definitely there with you. Some of that's also being a chronically online person. I am chronically online, unfortunately. I am very hip to most internet culture, but like that comes at a cost. People love it. Like people really fuck with my my Instagram comments because like I vibe with the culture. I understand many different references, and although I'm not bringing that to the table right now in this format or even on the YouTube videos, I feel like there's a potential there. And if I get really comfortable, like I think I'd be really good with pulling out certain parts of the zeitgeist and piecing them together in a unique way. But that also comes at a cost, and that means I'm chronically online, and that means that I'm constantly scrolling, and it's unfortunate because that cost is a loss of days of experience. You know, do you really want that? that keeps me up at night and keeps me from sleeping. And it gets me to a point where I'm like so tired during the day. That could honestly be a large amount of it. You know? It's like a therapy session right now. See, that's the thing. The S's get me too. S's are the essence of the essence of the S's. Hold up. Are we creating poetry right now? Bayer? Cultural values. No. Cultural values. Cultural values play a fundamental role in how decisions, including participation in research. Let's see. Yeah. Participation in research are made in different communities. See right there. The T wasn't pronounced. So I'm like, in different communities, it wasn't even there, but I'll just roll with it. Around the world. Around the world. Around the world. Around the world. Yeah, I mean, need to be a professional voice actor. I appreciate that. Yeah, I would love that. It would be really cool. I would like to do acting first because you've seen Inside Out and you know that the characters in Inside Out are professional actors that are voicing a character. And it's the same thing when it comes to like Aladdin, where you're like, oh my gosh, that is the famous actor that I know, the famous comedian. But it's much harder to go the other way. Yeah, Communities is exactly how he said that. It's much harder to go the other way. If you're John DiMaggio and you try to portray a character on film, the moment you speak, everyone's going to say, dude, that's Bender. Dude, that's Jake the dog. That's not random janitor number 5. That's Jake the dog. Like, so you have such a recognizable voice that people no longer can see you as whatever character you want to play. So I have a lot more acting work that I want to do before I focus exclusively on voiceover work, but I would love to do that at some point in the future. Yeah. Maybe I could do both at the same time, and since I'm so small and unknown, it wouldn't matter either way. But yeah, it does excite me to do that. It's a lot of money in voiceover work as well, because you can do it from wherever. Some of these books are like $600 worth for 3 hours. 3 hours of produced material will run you about $600. Yeah, that's pretty solid. How many of those can you make in a month? I could probably do one of those a week. $600 a week. Let's just do a little quick math. 600 a week. Let's multiply that by 52 weeks. That's 31,000 a year. That's it's not the best salary, but that's not bad. That can pay rent. In some cultures, let's see, probably go up flexion on that. Maybe like, in some cultures, an emphasis on community or family values may mean that collective or family consent is considered more important and meaningful. That's got to be clustered. More important and meaningful than individual consent. In these societies, personal decisions, especially with implications for health, timing. Especially those with implications for health or well-being are often made jointly, taking into account the views of community. Yeah, actually, no, I like that. The views of community leaders, elders, or family members. That's clunky. Or family members. I guess that's all right. I guess that's okay. Your voice will definitely be recognized by at least a handful of people. Thank you. Are there any specific acting roles you want or open to anything really? Yeah, I'm open to anything really. I'm really open to anything. Like, honestly, I think that I would have always saw myself as like the typical dude or some guy in high school or something, or maybe like I played a lot of Friends, like the friend of the guy, but when I was on ABC's What Would You Do, they put me as the villain, really. They put me as the heel. They put me as the guy who was the instigator, the troublemaker. So that kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone, because I'm not used to playing that kind of character. But it was interesting to me, and I really wanted to. I love doing it because that pushed me out of my world. And I think that acting at its essence is that it's becoming something that you're inherently not. So yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that. So in answering that question, I want to say sometimes it's the role that I least expect that I'm most excited for. Yeah. Like I just got an audition from my agent for a Santa Claus, for example. Like, never would I have ever said I want to play Santa Claus, but I got that audition and they said a younger, more attractive looking, like different take on Santa. Then I was like, interesting. I'd like to see how that's done, because it's so out of my purview. It's so out of my wheelhouse, but that excites me. I want to do something that I could have never expected, and it's a off the wall challenge that they say, "Hey Eric, can you do this?" And I'm like, "Let's see what we got. Let's play with it." Says lines very well. I guess that's okay, bro. You're doing great. Don't worry. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you, Bayor. I appreciate you. Getting out of your comfort zone is a great thing to do. Just got a new job. Oh, nice. Love that. It's far out of my comfort zone. Oh, what do you do? That's so cool. But definitely a good for character development. Yeah. Very good for character development. No matter what you do, as long as you pour your time and energy and focus into doing the best you can at that thing, you learn skills that are transferable to anything else you do. Doing tasks is really, really rewarding because you get good at the meta task. The thing, like to do the dishes, for example, is the same thing as like to mop the floor. And you could be like, those are two very different things. You're exactly right. Except that they're both tasks that you have to set things up with and gather the materials for. So like in some way, like to conceptualize the prep work or the action or the follow through, stuff like that. Like that is the meta thing that you're always training for no matter what you do. Modern Santa would go so hard. I'm honestly so curious how they would do it. I just have to send digitals for that, so it's going to be a really easy audition, but I don't know. I don't know what their take is going to be on it. They'll give me more information if they want me to do it, but yeah, that was an interesting one. So that's like an example, of something that's I've seen recently that's like, I would have never said that. But if they offered me the opportunity, I would do it, and I would have so much fun trying to figure out how to do it. Modern Center would go so hard. That is so unique. That's what I'm saying. All right, I'm gonna do a last push on here maybe. I don't know if I can make it to religious norms. That's pretty far down. Man, it's all the way down there. I work at a bakery now. Oh, nice. Love that. Bakery's cool. The only complication is that you're surrounded by food all the time, and that would probably like make you so hungry. Because like as you're working in that bakery, like you're constantly smelling like the butter and the flour in the air, and yeah, you smell it, and it's the conditional response of having the mouth water, having the ghrelin, I think it's ghrelin that gets released from your stomach, and it's like you're constantly hungry, surrounded by those signals. So I was like, that's the one thing I can think of that's probably like, oh man, that would be a challenge. But then also like that might be good to confront those feelings. I've never worked in a team before, and it's very strange. Oh, okay. Yeah, team dynamics too. I like that. And I do the dishes and mop the floor. Oh my gosh, that is so much. They're like, make the new guy do it. It's definitely rewarding doing tasks, knowing you're helping the whole team. Yeah, that is exactly it. That is 100% it. It's like, if you can do something to help the community or help your team or set yourself up for success, you feel so good doing that. So I love that. That is awesome. What are we at? We're at 11:47. We're at 11:47. All right. Okay. All right. I think in lieu of that, I just wanted to come on and say what's up to everybody and have a good chat. And I think that definitely happened. So very happy with that. Do you read through books before deciding whether you want to voice them? God, no. God, no. Oh, thank you for that. I don't know why Mac OS is not on there anymore. Because that property should be cancel Mac OS audio capture Logic Pro. Okay, so I had to restart it. That is so weird. That's so weird. Thank you for that. I appreciate you telling me that I'm muted, because on here, like, I see it and I'm like, oh yeah, the audio's on there, and then it just doesn't. So thank you for letting me know. I really appreciate that. But no, all I was saying is that let's see. Reading the book ahead of time would be such a challenge, because it already takes so much time to read through it initially, that if I were to read through it and actually read it and comprehend it, then it would take so much longer. But I will say that I do skim through it. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. I'll skim through it. And I was saying that there was this one book that I was working on in the generative AI guide to interviewing. I think that's what it was. There was a lot of code in that book, and it was such a challenge to figure out, how do I, as a narrator, speak code as an audiobook? Like, they obviously want me to do it because it's most of the book, but how weird is that? So, like, I sort of figured out a way to do it, and if I was choosy with it and I read through it first, I'd be like, yo, this is not a book that you can make into an audiobook. But long story short, I would say it's probably best to read through a book, because you can make decisions like that, and then you can also make creative decisions as a narrator. But I don't personally do that, because that is a lot of work, and I barely have enough time. I work full time outside of this, and then I do the audiobook on the side, and it's a lot of work. So if I did it as a full-time job, I may have somebody else read through it and do things like look at all the pronunciations and then like detail all the pronunciations. I think I still wouldn't read through it, to be honest. But if I was a good audiobook narrator, then yes, I would read through it. I'd know exactly what the book, like the arc of the story was, and then be able to give it more life. But, and no, me personally, I don't really. But I think that is it for me tonight. Very time consuming. Have you ever been voicing as you read? Then find a sentence or paragraph that surprised you, or even made you think, or even made you even more interested in the book. Yeah, definitely. I think that most of the lines that I read on here is like, because of my style of reading it for the first time, really, like, I get kind of surprised halfway through it. I'm like, oh, that's what they mean. Okay, hold up. Let me take it back. And then the program that I'm using on Descript, that does a really good job of removing all of that first take and only leaving that second one. It makes it immensely easier to edit. So yeah, no, 100%. I'd say every single time I approach these projects, I get more and more tools from my toolkit to use however I please. You know, I have more understanding of generative AI, of how to grow rice, of red light therapy, of how to play blackjack like a pro, how to play baccarat. There's so many different things. I've never even heard of the game baccarat until I started doing audiobooks. Yeah, there's so much that surprises me in it, and I feel like it's just getting started. This is the way that I learn as much as I can about things in the world. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for popping in. Bayor, my man, thank you for popping in. You are awesome. So glad I met you tonight. Very glad I went on live so I can make that connection. Thank you for popping in. Thank you for the like, and I will definitely hit you up with a sub as well. Let me make sure I do that before I get out of here, actually. Let me make sure, because I'll just crash and go to bed, and I'll totally forget about it. You know what? Do I follow you already? No, I don't. Bam. Oh, that's cool. You got cool videos. Love that. Do a lot of artwork. That's pretty sick. Nice. I'll have to show you some love. Not on camera, but I'll have to show you some love as well. You have a good night. Thank you so much. Sorry I distracted now. Never. You are all good. You are totally fine. And plus, I wanted to go on live so I can interact with as many people as possible. I had a video recently that did fairly well, and I wanted to be able to talk to people that had seen that and be able to sort of put another face, another like, this is my actual sort of personality of being on live, and I wanted to be able to talk to as many people as I can. While that was doing fairly well right now. I was doing fairly well, and it really surprised me. Makes me want to make more, honestly. It makes me want to make a lot more and say, like, oh, if I make something, it could have a good impact. So, like, if I put even more effort into it, then that might translate to a bigger impact where people really enjoy what I'm making. And instead of having a 60% like to dislike ratio, it might be closer to 75 or 80 or something. I don't know. But being able to see, like, what people want to hear and talk about things that people are interested in, like, yeah, it's very rewarding. Very rewarding. Thank you for answering your questions. So, yeah, never feel like you distracted me. You are all good. It was nice hearing your perspectives and knowledge of your craft. Absolutely. Always here for that. Thank you very much, Bayor. I appreciate you. And I am here to answer any questions. And I'm also here to learn as well. I'm definitely not a professional in the sense that I haven't been at it for decades. I'm still learning so much about this, but that makes me excited, and that makes me excited to share every single thing that I find, and I'm here to broadcast that to everybody along the journey. So thank you for being a part of the journey. I really appreciate you, and very glad to make the connection tonight. So thank you. Hope you have a wonderful night, and I will see you on the next one.